These pensioners have been left without any in-home care. Now they're pleading for help.
No care, no communication, nothing.
I'm used to it being spotless and there was dust everywhere.
It's more just the lack of, I guess the word's respect.
Left to fend for themselves, our elderly, our most vulnerable, living in this.
It's been a disaster.
Feeling ashamed, helpless, these pensioners say they've been pushed aside amid a blame game between the federal government and local council that stripped them of in-home aged care they desperately rely on.
It was fine the way it was.
Very disappointed, you know, because you work all your life and we only ask for what we really need.
Joan Wood is her husband Bill's full-time carer.
This lady of mine, she does so much for me and I feel useless as I can't really do much for her.
Together they live on Victoria's Mornington Peninsula.
This way, darling.
For them, this home is their castle, but they need help to keep it clean.
Well, it's not healthy. I mean, it's very dusty. The floors are terrible.
Joan uses the Mornington Peninsula Shire's aged care cleaning service. Every fortnight, a cleaner would come and help the 76-year-old. But that all stopped back in May, after they were signed up to Mecwa Care. No one came, no one cleaned, no one bothered to call and explain why.
We kept saying, oh, it'll be next week. It'll be next week. Nothing.
But Joan and Bill are just one couple among more than 1,000 elderly residents left without any in-home care. The result of a transition to privatise the sector, a part of the federal government's aged care reforms.
We don't like sleeping in a dirty bed. We thought we'd have a go and do it ourselves. And he slipped and fell.
Bill's bruises stretched all the way up his side. It was an accident that never should have happened.
Had he have hit his head and bled, yes, he could have died because he's on warfarin.
The Mornington Peninsula has one of the largest elderly populations in Victoria. That's one of the reasons the council wanted to get on the front foot and make the transition to private companies early to allow time for quality providers to fill in the gaps. But instead, it's been their elderly community that's fallen through the gaps.
We're still there. We still need services that haven't been provided.
Judith Mitchell's a retired mum of 6. At 70, she wants to welcome her grandkids into her home.
He's 9 months old, he's just started crawling. I don't want him to go home with dirty knees.
Judith's unit has gone without a paid clean since July 1, when the Mornington Peninsula Shire exited its aged care services. With her new provider, Bolton Clark, Judith's cleans will drop to once every 4 weeks and go up by around $3. After a 7-week wait, a cleaner is finally expected next week.
And we were told it wouldn't change. Well, wouldn't change and no one come are two different things.
Councils have known about the federal government's decision to move to an open market since 2016. They've also been given an extended July 1, 2024 deadline to make the transition. And despite promises like this that no one will miss out, hundreds have. Their pleas for help falling on deaf ears.
I'll send an email to the coordinator, she said, but I don't hold much hope for you. We haven't got any staff.
We are seeing a workforce crisis, and what this is leading to is an inability for the privatised providers to hire staff.
Lisa Darmanin, Branch Secretary of the Australian Services Union.
Residents should feel let down by their councils who have decided to outsource prematurely using government reforms as an excuse. It's unacceptable.
The Mornington Peninsula Shire telling A Current Affair the transition hasn't been as smooth as we would have hoped, but unfortunately most of this process has been out of our control. The Department of Health and Aged Care is saying councils are expected to actively work with the department and incoming providers on transition arrangements to ensure service continuity for clients.
I don't know whose fault it is, but it's not fair.